understand that. Please, thanks for coming tonight. Who would like to please, Gerald? Okay.
Most kind and loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all the blessings that you continue to heap on us. We thank you for the rain that you've sent to us and filled up our streams and our lakes. We thank you for this body of men that stand before us, that are here to make decisions for the city, and we pray that you'll be with them and help them make the correct decisions. We ask that you continue to bless and keep us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Movers and leaders.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Now I call to order the regular meeting of the Recreational Authority and hear a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Trustee Huber?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes, we have an action item, a contract with Clinton Soccer Club.
Okay, this is between the Clinton Soccer Club and the City of Clinton Recreational Authority. In a nutshell, this allows the Clinton Soccer Club to schedule the games that are on the soccer facility on Avenue Grade. They will mark the fields. They will place the goals where they need to be. There's a high degree of usage out there, which is a great thing. There's different age groups, therefore the fields need to be of a different size. They know when the games are going to be played. They know the kind of field that are going to be set up. The obligation of the city would be to mow, water, and oversee. And Chris or Lucas, either one, interrupt me if I've misstated anything, but I think this kind of takes us back to the relationship of somewhat that used to be at the airport. For the city, it frees up the staff that would have been doing those things to do other things. Chris has a limited staff, tries to take care of all the parts, does a pretty good job, but I think it creates flexibility for the Clinton Soccer Club and helps us out. It decreases the amount of obligation that we have. So I think it's good for both parties. The contract has been looked over by Ryan, and I believe, Lucas, you presented to the soccer club.
Yes, I did.
There were some revisions, some things they asked us to change. We did that. And so this is an agreement that's come to by both groups. Any questions?
I have a question.
Hmm?
It said that during the term that the Clinton Soccer Club would operate its own concession stands, and it would coordinate with other groups who had events at the same time. Will you be organizing and operating the concession stand? If there is other events at the same time, will you be responsible for the concessions for those other events as well? Or
No.
I'm a little bit unclear.
Well, basically what it is we just want to make sure that we coordinate with, say softball or baseball or any other tournaments or events that are taking place out at Acme, so that we're not stepping on each other's toes, or we make sure that the players and family members are parking in the correct designated areas and things like that. Is basically what that's about.
Do you have any problem communicating with those people?
I do not.
Does the soccer club like the agreement?
We do.
Second, good agreement with me? Any other questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the facility usage contract with the Clinton Soccer.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Huber?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
I'm going to abstain.
And Chairman?
Yes. Trustee reports?
I do have one report or question. It was brought to my attention that the Oklahoma Putters Association had a putt-putt tournament, I guess, on the 14th of this month. And they came to Clinton Saturday night on the 13th with the anticipation of playing some practice rounds. Unfortunately, the course was not open. This has happened once before in any other instances where large groups of out-of-town folks, primarily last year, came to town wanting to utilize the facility, looked on the website, the hours of operation were posted there, and the place was closed. Either we need to make the hours of operation reflective of the hours that are going to be open, or just make some kind of note in there, call for availability or something, because I think this happened a couple of times last year, and I got the guy in with Chris last year, and they kind of visited about opening it for some individuals for the church. Brett Stratton contacted you last year. So it's happened before, and it seems to be, maybe we could take some time and take our website, whatever they're looking at, and adjust it to fit the schedule that we're actually doing.
And Chris, did you ever look at the website to see if the hours that are posted are there?
The hours, I believe that they're correct as of now. With the Players Association, I've got a letter stating that the actual tournament that they were playing in didn't start until, I believe, 10:30. They were playing from 10:30 to 2. And they requested it be open at 8:30 so they could get practice rounds in. And it was open at 8:30 as they requested. And Saturday night, the only reason it was closed was due to weather.
Any other trustee reports?
Yes, I had one of the baseball coaches call me today and wanted to commend the city for the condition of the baseball fields this weekend. We had a tournament. How many towns were here?
I believe there was upwards of 15 or 20.
And they were extremely pleased with the condition of the fields. We talked about the watering, and that was all taken care of. The concession stand worked great. Everyone that participated in the tournament was very happy.
Schumacher Fields? Was Schumacher Fields?
And Chris, we have a designated employee that takes care of the baseball, softball, and soccer fields all this time. So be sure to pass that along.
Will do.
Yeah, they're very complimentary.
Good. Well, it's always good to hear that Clinton's got that kind of reputation to draw.
And they stayed in the hotels and
Good.
I have one more question. I was asked today about the status of the swinging bridge at the golf course. I know last week they were working to get it usable again, and they ran into some trouble. Are we going to be able to fix it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, as soon as it dries out enough that I feel like those loaders can get in there and not create more damage than they're helping, it'll be fixed. The concrete's re-poured back and everything's ready.
I can ask about that for a second. City manager's report?
No, sir, not this time.
Body's participation regarding the recreational authority. Motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Human,
Yes.
trustee Martinez,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Rodoff,
Yes.
and chairman.
Yes. Airport Authority agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I so move.
I'll second.
Trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Martinez,
Yes.
trustee Rodoff,
Yes.
trustee Human,
Yes.
and chairman.
Yes. Action on lag in agreement with Western Oklahoma Aviation.
You know, what we have here is an agreement. I think the life of the other one was 5 years, 3 years. We come to the end of that. It's time to renew if you choose. There's very few changes in this one versus the other one. A couple of bullet points have been added, which kind of spells out the responsibilities of Mrs. Yoder's firm and the city. They more or less have to do with, who's mowing under what fence, who's going to weed eat here, who's going to weed there, those kind of things. One of the things at the bottom of page 3, it mentions that the authority will reimburse the management for credit card sales of oil and pilot supplies. We do, the city does sell the fuel, but her fund owns the oil and pilot supplies, but it's a plastic world, so, you know, they purchase those supplies through our books, and then we reimburse her for the sales that have come across our books. That's all that is, that's all it has to do with it. Like I say, really very few changes, and most of them were housekeeping. But it is presented for your consideration and approval.
I do have a question. I looked at the original document that we're under right now, and it said the manager shall provide, the new document says the manager shall provide aircraft fueling service, and the manager will be responsible for the purchase of all fuel. So we currently, we purchase the fuel, that's on page 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th bullet point back. We currently purchase the fuel and we receive the revenue from the sale of fuel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why would we in this agreement, I mean, is she going to be receiving revenue for the fuel sales?
No, as I read that, it means that she is responsible for the ordering of the fuel. I don't think it means that she is going to purchase the fuel in her name. That's how I read that. I'm assuming that's how it's been handled in the past. Because she's tracking.
She will order the fuel.
Yeah, she orders it, but she doesn't own it.
Okay. Well, that paragraph was not, those few lines were not in the original.
Okay, so that's another change. Okay, that's fine.
I just wanted to make sure that we're not allowing revenue sources to go
No,
into.
no, that's not taking place.
Okay, thank you.
Because we spent quite a
Yeah.
bit of money at buying that fueling
Yeah.
system for the aviation.
The jet fuel,
Yes,
we spend.
How are the sales of jet fuel going?
Tracy?
Well,
There she-
sorry.
It's,
No, that's all right. This month they're picking up. They're not what I really wanted them to be, and I guess that's to be expected because it's still new and they're finding out. But it's going, but honestly, it's not where I want it to be. Some of the problem, and that's fine, that we have is because of the amount of fuel that we have to take, a small amount, our price is a little bit higher than around. And so we're kind of running into that a little bit, but we've gotten to use it for like some major things, like OHP was in today and our news copters, and so it's serving its purpose, I think, for the need of Clinton, and it's progressively getting better, so I just hope that it continues, so. Does that answer your question?
Hey, Tracy, is that how you understood that paragraph about the fuel, that the city will purchase it, but we don't own it?
The city purchases the fuel and the city receives all revenue for the fuel. I usually recommend the fuel price and I send that to Lisa or to Mark, and then they will okay, that price setting. We try to do a 10% return. If the other airports around us are not there and they're lower than us, then sometimes we have to come down because we need to be competitive, but we try to stay in that area, so.
thank you. Thank you, Tracy.
Any other questions or motion regarding this agreement?
I would make a motion that we approve the management agreement with Western Oklahoma Aviation.
Second.
Trustee Doolin?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Randolph?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes. Trustee reports? City manager's report?
No, sir.
Audience participation about the airport? Motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting?
Second.
Trustee Doolin?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Randolph?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes. Public Works Authority agenda. Motion, anybody to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Trustee Doolin?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Brotto.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes, action item A, letter of support for smart water grant application submitted by FOSS.
The Smart Water Grant is subsidized or sponsored by the Bureau of Reclamation. FOSS, National Conservancy District, is a Bureau of Reclamation project. What this Smart Water Grant application would do would be allow to formulate a regional water plan where you would look at all the resources in this area, not just stand alone as far as Clinton's concerned, FOSS is concerned. This was presented to the FOSS board, I believe, at the last board meeting that they had. They did ask that the city generate a letter of support for the project. They felt like that would be beneficial to the application process. So FOSS would be sponsoring the amount of money to be spent on this. The maximum amount that the Bureau of Reclamation will put in the project is $200,000. This letter of support in no way obligates or encumbers us to any expenditures.
So it's just a study to look into West Oklahoma water situation.
Right.
So our water treatment plant will likely be part of the study. If I'm doing it.
That's right.
Motion for letter of support.
I move we authorize the mayor to execute a letter of support.
Second that motion.
Trustee Brotto.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Huber.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes, budget amendment for fiscal year 2014.
Deborah?
This is a supplemental budget appropriation for the Public Works Authority. This is strictly to appropriate all the construction funds that we had received in the revenue bond issue, get those into proper expenditure line items. I handed out revisions to you all just a while ago. Don brought it to my attention that there were some numbers that didn't quite skew right, the way they were divided up. It still is the bottom line of the full amount of the construction fund, so I did revise those just in the last 30 minutes and handed those out.
What I was talked to Deborah and Mark about was whenever we got our original water project budget, which was part of the bond issue, that the engineering costs were included in all of these numbers. On this original that the first one we were looking at, had a separate line item for engineering fees. So I just felt like it would be better to reduce the RO plant cost by the amount of engineering that added to pipeline cost.
It's a matter of tracking, it was a reallocation of funds between one line item and another. Like Deborah said, the bottom line is the
Bottom line is,
All right. Motion or any other questions? Comments? Motions?
We need a motion to approve this. I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendment. Second.
Trustee Huber.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Brotto.
yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Trustee reports regarding Public Works Authority.
No, sir.
All participation about Public Works. Motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting, everybody?
Yes.
Second.
Trustee Huber.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Brotto.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Industrial Authority agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Trustee Huber.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Brotto.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Action item A, budget transfer for 2014-15.
This is no change to the bottom line of the Industrial Authority budget. It's just reallocating from a few line items to one line item. What happened was the retail strategies, when we did that at the first of the year, I did not have enough in that contractual service line item. So we're just moving some from another line item to cover that one line item. No change to the bottom line of the budget.
Excellent. Questions for Deborah? A motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the budget transfer.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Wiedemann.
Yes.
Trustee Rhoda.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Trustee reports regarding the industrial authority. City manager's report.
No, sir.
Audience participation about the industrial authority. Motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Wiedemann.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Rhoda.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes, Clinton City Council agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Hewland.
Yes.
Councilman Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilman Rhoda.
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item A, agreement with Summer Playground.
Yeah. What you see in front of you is a contract for the fiscal year, that's now coming up. It, lists the obligations of Clinton Summer Playground, Inc. I think it's pretty much repetitive with what you see in the past. I do believe that's one of the entities that you fund. Don't think, I know nothing new here. It's just repeat what we've had in the past, and it is submitted for your approval.
That's a popular program, Chris.
I,
I know that it is. I know my nephews use it. I know
I make a motion we approve the agreement on the summer playground.
Second.
Councilman Hewland.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilman Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Rhoda.
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item B, ordinance 958 regarding city manager plan amendment with OMR.
The OMRF, this is some language that I've seen submitted every year in every city that I've seen. There's one for the city manager and one for the Clinton. The terms of the city manager retirement fund are somewhat different. I think it has to do with vesting. That's why you see two of these on the agenda tonight.
Motion or questions?
Do these have to be approved every year, or do they make some type of a change? There was an amendment that says.
IRS, Internal Revenue Service.
Yeah.
I make a motion we approve ordinance 958.
Second.
Councilman Hewland.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilman Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Rhoda.
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item C, 959 regarding defined contribution plan with OMR.
And this has to do with all the other employees that are covered by OMRF.
Motion or questions, comments?
I'll make a motion we approve ordinance 959.
Second.
Councilman Hewland.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilman Rhoda.
Yep.
Councilman Lowry.
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item E, we have a couple more budget transfers versus the general fund. Oh, and the second one?
D.
Oops. Oh. Appointment to planning and zoning board, board of adjustments.
And Lisa, I think there's one position.
One position, our city code says that we will have two people that serve on these boards that will serve on both boards. Corky Hurd has been serving in that position, and his term is expiring. And he expressed that he did not wish to continue serving, so we have a vacancy on both boards. We also, Mariola Acosta serves on both boards, so she's one of the two positions. So we need to fill a vacancy on both, but we need another person to serve on both boards
And
also.
that would be planning, zoning, and board of adjustments.
Yes,
So how many people do we need on there?
one person
But they'll have to serve on both
on
boards.
both boards.
What do they do? Planning and zoning board.
But when you get the request to rezone,
Yeah.
that comes from, they review all of that person, make the recommendation to you. And the planning and zoning, let's say someone is wanting to build a fence that's taller than the city code allows. They have to present that information to the Board of Adjustments, and they make the determination if it's an unusual circumstance and if that should be granted or not.
Does anybody know of anybody who wants to fill those boards? Is there any come up with somebody?
So,
You know, this is something that we can bring up again at, when is their term over, June the 30th?
July 1st is when the new
July
year's
1st. This is something that we can bring up at the next July meeting. and give the council time to come up with a recommendation, or tell anybody on the public tools to contact the city, and who's willing to serve, and we can make it known to you who that is. But if we do not have a full quorum, and a quorum's not the right word, but if we don't have every seat filled, that's not gonna keep us from going forward.
Okay. But we need to come up with somebody, needs to come up with somebody.
Yes.
Well, typically, what we've done in the past, haven't we just expressed that we have an opening and people kind of apply for this? That's kind of how the last individual was. So,
This is the third time this has happened, and the previous two times, it was easy to fill.
I make a motion, we just table this item for, what, maybe the second meeting in July? Or do we need to?
No, that would be fine. That gives people ample time on the calendar.
That's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Councilman Huglen?
Yes.
Councilman Bowers?
Yes.
Councilman Martinez?
Yes.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Now, action on the budget transfers for the 14-15 budget versus general fund.
This is just the same thing, there's no change to the bottom line, it's just moving some things around within the general fund. This is the first one in the capital improvement fund. Repairs to the pool this year, some of the pay in the fire department, due to the fact that we have the interim fire chief is paid out of fire protection, but we still have the salary over budgeted in fire admin, so that's part of the reason for that. The pool repairs, some storm siren maintenance that we needed to cover those line items that have been overspent. But it's still no change to the bottom line of the general fund.
What were the pool repairs, the slide?
The slide, yes, welding. Mhm. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cover the capital improvement, I know it's not up yet, but the capital improvement, was the same type of thing, pool repairs over there, piece of equipment we bought, the new entertainment piece of equipment we bought at the pool, was not on there, so, and then the money that we had to front to the Department of Transportation for the big project, I had to put a little bit of money in that line item to cover that, for the feasibility study.
I know.
But there again, no change to the bottom line in either one of those funds, just a reallocation.
So we need to approve both of these transfers.
Yes.
Do you have any questions for Deborah or a motion? First, probably ought to address the general fund. Yeah, one item.
Motion, we approve the transfers in the general fund and capital improvement fund.
Second.
Councilman Huglen?
Yes.
Councilman Martinez?
Yes.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes, action item F, take action on approval of widening portion of Boulevard of Champions, as presented by Mr. Walt Schumacher.
Very
Yes, sir.
simple. When the original traffic circle at Boulevard of Champions was built, we had 45-foot trailers. We based it on what the traffic engineer's template said. Well, now we have 55-foot trailers, and we've got some off and on school buses. And what this does is widens out the north part of the traffic circle so that they can get around it without going over hitting the monument or something like that. It's about a $5,690 project, I think. Since I built that road for the city, I proposed that I would general that small project with no charge. And I think it can be done in the TIF district. Deborah doesn't agree with me, so hence we're here looking for $5,690.
We afford it?
I don't know that we've got that money in the budget. We certainly don't have an earmark for that project to say that there's not that much in street repairs. I certainly wouldn't say that, but I hadn't looked at the budget yet. Walt called in utility locates, and on the locate, it mentioned that he would like to meet with us out there, so Donald and myself went out, saw what he had in mind. And since it is a dedicated city street and accepted by the city council, I went to Walt, this is something I don't have the authority to to approve, you'll have to make a presentation to the city council, and here it is today.
What are we gonna do there?
And I think Walt and Deborah have discussed this, and Deborah does not believe that this falls within the realm or the use of.
And I'm basing it on, when we met with the attorney to set up the TIF district, he said all the monies that are raised within the TIF district have to be used within the TIF district. Now, that includes retiring the debt, obviously, but the debt's way ahead. It's over 50%, isn't it?
It's way ahead, yes, it is.
It's way ahead. And based upon him saying that, if you can't use it in the TIF district, and I believe when the TIF district is paid off, then that's the end of the TIF district. So if he said you can use it for improvements within the TIF district, it's gotta be done before it's paid off.
So
We can talk to the attorney. Deborah looked at the books, we didn't talk to the attorney as to what he meant. He's kind of an expert on TIF district.
Dan, is that who?
Dan McMahon?
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions or comments that can help us out?
So your initial project was that you were going to pay for this out of the TIF district?
Well, either the TIF district, it's something that needs to be done. It isn't a big amount compared to some of the money you guys get to spend. But it can be done right and done fairly inexpensively. There's no utilities we have to worry about. It's a pretty clean deal.
No, I think Deborah's concern, and rightfully so, is that we were to misuse the TIF funds and put the TIF in jeopardy. And I don't think that's anything that anybody behind the table, or Walt for that matter, wants to do.
I think what we're looking for is an approval, either by TIF district or by city funds. We'll try to TIF district first.
Now, did you go out and look at it, Donald? Did you go out and look at it?
Yeah, I did.
How would you suggest we handle an overreach? Say the project grant is $7,000.
I've got bids from the companies. I've got a firm bid from Circle S. I've got a firm bid from Everett Music. I'm sure that the striping will not go over $150. It's only part of the circle. I do it myself. I've done it before. It doesn't go over. And the other stuff we're doing ourselves, so there's no overage.
Do you have any specifications that are written down as far as, how much base is going to be there?
Maybe 4 inches of rock base, 4 inches of asphalt.
So the circle's too tight.
So it was too tight on one side,
Yeah.
just on one side.
Well, I'd like to see us find a way to get this deal done. I think it's going to grade it off for the city of London.
Yes, I'm with you.
Deborah, you know Mr. McMahon, I'm sure, quite well. Would you mind checking with him and getting an opinion on whether the TIF funds can be utilized or not?
What was the dollar amount?
$5,690. And it's really not the amount, it's just the legal use of the funds. We want to make sure that
Okay.
we don't want to quit a big project over a dime.
Right.
We don't want to do that.
Yes, sir.
Well, do we need to do anything tonight to authorize?
Well, I know it's dedicated to City Street, but it does, I would say benefit Walt's business more than anything else. Normally, what I've seen is a cost share program between two entities coming up, which would mean that you and the city would share in the cost of the project. Have you given that any thought?
Not exactly. I mean, it's a small item. We're gonna do the general contracting at no charge. We'll pull we have to pull the old curve out. I didn't get a bid from anybody on pulling the old curve out. I didn't put that in there. I mean, I could inflate that, make it look like we're contributing $3,000, but I don't do business that way.
Do we want to see if we can come up with the money and come back in 2 weeks?
Why don't we do that? Would that be?
Yeah, I mean, we're ready to go. I got the contractors ready to go, so if it was,
They're not going anywhere.
no.
They're both local.
It's easy.
Let Deborah check and see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Walt.
Thank you.
Action item G, Resolution 853, authorizing mayor and city manager to execute participation agreement with JP Morgan Chase Bank.
Kevin?
We brought this to you 2 months ago about the possibility of doing the purchasing cards. We've been working on it off and on throughout those 2 months. We are at the point of ready to send in a list of employees to get purchasing cards on their way here, but we needed, another community used a resolution to authorize the city manager or the mayor to sign that agreement with JP Morgan Chase, and I thought, well, that's just a good way to handle it. In that way, it's documented that that's how it was approved. For them to execute an agreement with JP Morgan Chase so we could move forward with this as a participation agreement. And in the original agreement is actually with the Tulsa School District. We participate onto that agreement is what we do.
Questions or motion? This is a pretty forward-thinking project.
It's just a step in the process that she's been working on for some time.
Move we adopt resolution 852.
Second, anybody?
Second.
Councilman Rudolph?
Yes.
Councilman Martinez?
Yes.
Councilman Huglen?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item H, ordinance 960, processing methods for internal controls over the same stuff, purchases and gas disbursements.
The same thing, with the purchasing card procedure that we were putting in place, we needed to revise our purchasing code, purchasing policy through ordinance. We had adopted a ordinance, I can't even remember, in when was it? Anyway, a few years back, we had done some ordinance for competitive bidding and purchasing procedures. We needed to revise that slightly, so Ryan's suggestion was, since there was quite a bit of revision, we wanted to repeal the one that was adopted a few years back, and that's what the top part of the ordinance states, repealing section 311 and 312, and replacing those with a new 311, 312, but then also adding 314, 15, 16, 17, and 18. What those all are, I'll go over the highlights. The first part, 311, is basically we're going to follow competitive bidding based on state statute. That's what the first part is. The exceptions to that would be if the item, this single transaction item, does not meet the competitive bidding requirement. If there's only one dealer that is available in the community. If we are buying from another government agency. Those are the types of things that are listed in the first page under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Issues where we would not competitively bid. Section 312 is about our purchasing procedures, that the city manager has the authorization to name authorized agents for purchasing. The section B lists out how goods, services, and capital can be purchased. The reason we needed this section B in there, if you'll look on the bullet points under section B, the very last one, the things above are payroll, debt service, utility payments, things that we want to be able to pay without having to write a purchase order for. The last item says purchases where the obligation and final invoice are processed in the same 30-day period. That statement right there is going to allow us to use the purchasing cards to make a purchase, and we're going to pay that off every month on the credit card bill. Ryan reviewed this and did agree that that statement would cover that situation. So we wouldn't have to have the purchase order encumbrance procedure that we normally have. Other highlighted things in this that changed, for all purchases of contracts, goods, services, or capital over $25,000, City Council shall approve, approval shall be obtained prior to the time commitment is made. What we have had in the past that we're repealing was normal consumables or repair service contracts from $15,000 to $25,000. The city manager had authorization to do that. We're cleaning up that wording also and stating it all in one statement of up to $25,000 to kind of clean up the wording. Other than that, in that same area, section C on the second page of the document, I visited with the city manager quite a bit about this section, about him being able to purchase up to the $25,000 limit. But then we also talked about if it's a repair or replacement of an existing piece of equipment or capital item that was declared inoperable, that he would have a spending limit without prior council approval of less than 50,000. So in other words, if we have I don't know what kind of piece of equipment, something that's less than $50,000, that we have one on hand already, it goes down, we can't do the daily work because we don't have that piece of equipment, that it would be authorized for him to go ahead and replace that piece of equipment. That's one of the highlighted areas that was different.
Has that happened before? Is that why we've had to add that?
We've had repairs that have happened like that, repair to a piece of equipment or repair to a facility.
You know, not to my knowledge, certainly,
It's kind of one of those.
the time that I've been here, I don't know that it's ever happened. We just didn't want to be handcuffed if we got into a situation where we needed a front end loader because Donald turns up, that kind of thing.
Never happened.
It never happened, and I know you're not gonna let it happen. Well, and really, Deborah and I, when we discussed it, we really couldn't come up with an instance where this might take place. But we know that the state bid starts out at, I think it's 50,000.
Competitively bidding is 50,000.
Competitively bidding, yeah. Certainly, if such a situation arises, when we're talking about that magnitude of money spent, we're gonna go to the budget and make sure we have the money. And then we're gonna go to the state bid, which, takes us away from competitive bidding act and gets us the best price. But that was rationale. We just want to do this one time.
His normal spending limit will be 25,000 without approval. It's only if that piece of equipment that we currently have is declared inoperable and cannot be, it has to be replaced or repaired over that 25,000, up to 49,999.
The term we didn't use, and we were careful not to do this, was that term emergency. We didn't slip that in there. So that's why we use the inoperable. If we have a piece of equipment that goes down as inoperable and it's not needed immediately, then we're not gonna go, replace it, but we want to be able to, if that's what it took to operate the city. That's it. We talked about transmissions and motors, and really thinking the big stuff that might go down. We're pretty sure the $25,000 will take care of that. It would be a rather large piece of equipment that we might have. That's the rationale behind that thought.
I think it's a good idea. Have it there just addressed it anyway. And an example could be, if they're doing something, they have a big tractor or something out at the Swinging Bridge at the golf course that goes down tomorrow, they don't have to cease construction out there for 2 weeks before we come back. People want something like that for us.
Now, for anything over $50,000, there still is, by state law, there still is the ability to declare an emergency, to not have to competitively bid if it's declared an emergency by the council and it's going to be over $50,000, just like we've done on the well situation. You can do that for over $50,000, but it has to be declared an emergency, and there's a definition of
But that
emergency.
declaration takes action of the council.
That does take action of the council when that happens, so that's also. One other thing that is in item D, the last paragraph of item D, this, upon the proper procedures of all these payables being processed, the invoice claim forms documentation will be submitted to the city manager for consideration and approval of payment along with accompanying invoice and claims listing, which shall be approved in writing by the city manager. Invoice approval report or claims listing will be presented to the city council at the next regular council meeting. That is a little bit different. I wanted to point that one out. It allows us to be able to meet the deadline for these credit card payments if they are not at the time limit of a council meeting. But that is a sentence that I wanted to point out because that is different than we have done in the past.
So the claims list will be presented, it's just the bills may have already been paid.
Correct.
Because of the use of the emergency clause, but you're still.
It will have been approved and signed off of, in writing by the city manager. They'll have to sign off on the claims list.
What is the, I don't want to use the word rebate, what is the rebate to us as a percentage of what we use emergency card for? And isn't that set by the pool?
It is, that's why we are in a participation agreement with a large consortium, because they look at the spending number of the whole pool to develop the rebate percentage that will come back. Now, that rebate, that calculates the percentage we will get back, 1.7, let's say, something like that. It'll be based on our volume, ourself, of our spending that we've done. So 100,000 times 1.7 would be our volume. But the rebate percentage is based on the whole pool's spending limit, spending level during that time.
So the more the participants in the pool use the purchasing card, the larger the rebate is, and
Yes.
the larger each participant gets back.
Yes,
So if that were you.
that's how the rebate percentage is calculated.
Yeah, we'll use this, every place that we can. Letters to our vendors will go out to see if they're going to accept it or not. And those are not out yet.
That I don't know, not yet,
Okay.
not completely. I think they sent out some letters to some random ones that are some of the bigger customers to get an idea of if some of those will participate. But we'll be able to pay all the utility bills this way, AEP, ONG, all those different utilities will be able to be paid this way. And then some of the other part of this, the section 3, 14, 15, and 16, and 17, and 18, I actually went to Michael Crawford is a well-known CPA with municipal accounting in the state of Oklahoma. He does training all across the country for municipal governments. I went to his website and he had a draft ordinance for purchasing procedures and purchasing policy updates, things like that. This was off of his draft, and every one of these items really are governed by state statute, but it really doesn't hurt to reiterate those in our own code, and that's what all of this does. Section 314 pertaining to debt service, interfund transfers, petty cash funds, and incurring any kind of indebtedness. It's a very, since we were doing this document, it really clarifies and puts into our code what our practices are and should be. It's all things that are in the state statutes.
Anybody have any specific, or other specific questions for Deborah or a motion perhaps? Anybody?
I'll move we adopt ordinance 960.
Second, anybody?
I'll second this motion.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Yes.
Councilman Hughman?
Yes.
Councilman Martinez?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item I, take action on recommendation from FOSS, Master Conservancy Board members.
The last 2 pages of your packet are a copy of the letter that I received from Denver Meacham on June 10th. It refers to the seats on the Falls Master Conservancy District that are occupied by Roger Snyder, Dr. Jackson, and David Braun. It indicates that those 3 gentlemen, their terms will expire on, I believe, July the 31st, 2015. Now, the council makes a recommendation to the district judge who makes the appointment. And I believe there is a form that was in the letter as well, a form of nomination, I believe, made out to the Honorable Doug Hott.
Yes.
That's definitely right. It is not necessary that the council do anything at this time. These individuals, I think 2 of them have served on there since the inception of the Master Conservancy District. Only one, but Mr. Snyder, and then Dr. Jackson and David Braun as well. If you don't take any action, then they continue to serve past that July 31st date until their replacement is named.
So we don't have to do anything.
You really don't have to do anything at this time. It's kind of at your pleasure as to action you take. They will give us a thought, talk to them. I don't know. That's
Well,
up to the council.
I talked to a couple of them, they want to be reappointed. I make the motion that we renominate all 3 individuals.
Do you not want to take time to think about it?
We just got this letter.
Work on that.
I'll second.
Rodoff?
Yes.
Councilman Martinez?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
Councilman Hewland?
At this time, no.
And Mayor.
Yes. Council reports. City manager report. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, not about that on fire chief, is there?
No, there is not. At this time, I have not hired anyone into the fire chief position. Thank you.
Any other council reports? Manager's report?
Yes. For about 2 to 3 months, I've been, not negotiating, I've been dealing with the assistance of other city staff, talking to a company that was interested in moving to the Baker Hughes facility on Marshall Road. It's the piece on the east side, the sizable piece of the gravel, cyclone swing. They did close on the property on Friday this past week. I'm sure the word Danlin means more to you than it does to me. They were in Thomas, I believe, their plant caught on fire, they've been separated. Danlin has been purchased by a large consortium that was looking for a home, and here you are with 40, 183, and a Baker Hughes facility. They tell me they're very excited to be here. Myself and Toby have met with them more than once. They're ready to move in. I expect that to begin very, very soon. If you went by there, you noticed that there were pieces of equipment that were starting to leave the yards, just because they had no use for that. I do believe that they look forward to being a very good corporate neighbor in Clinton. They do express a desire to use local contractors as much as they can. I know they've already been in contact with some of those people, so, Danlin intends to make this their home. That's always nice, and especially nice when you have that nice of a facility sitting out there, and without the oil field activity, what was going to take place? Other than they grow up in weeds, and they have a security guard there to, make sure people don't come in and do any kind of damage. So, they'll be in touch. I would expect that Representative Danlin will come to Clinton City Council meeting and address you. If I'm not mistaken, I think they've already been in touch with the press. But they are going to move their headquarters. There will be other companies that, as I understand it, are not in competition with Danlin that do oil field service type activity that will be located to the same site. So yeah, it's a great thing to happen at this time.
We already hired people?
And that, I don't know. I really don't know.
That's great news, though. Great.
I'm assuming some people are gonna be moving into town.
I would believe so, yes. Now, Danlin was located in Thomas, Watonga, and Weatherford, I believe, is kind of where they were split up. As to whether those people will move here or just come here to work and drive back and forth to where they happen to be, I don't know that. But I know that Danlin is not the big piece of the pie that these people have. It's much bigger than just that. That was just the local tie that they have to this area.
Good stuff. Anything else?
No, sir.
Audience participation? Consider motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Councilman Hewland?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.